This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture related? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal. Brad, let me ask you a question. Okay, we're going to get started. What is your favorite movie and why?
The Matrix.
The Matrix, really?
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Why do you like The Matrix so much?
Well, it blew my mind in the theater. I remember it vividly.
Back in like 99? Was it 2000?
96, 99, somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. The way, just the opening scene.
Yeah.
It's hard to go back in time now and realize what a game changer the slow motion capture stuff they did.
Yeah.
How it changed movies. I like the philosophical aspects of it.
Oh, yeah.
There's one scene where, spoiler alert, on this 30
If you've not seen The Matrix by now.
So when Neo goes into the Prophet, remember?
Yeah.
And he walks in there, and she says something like, "Don't worry about the vase." And he looks around, and when he looks around, he hits the vase and knocks it off and breaks it. And he says, "Oh, I'm sorry." She said, "I told you not to worry about it. But what's going to really burn your noodle later is, if I hadn't have said anything, would you have hit it?" And I thought, that is like predestination kind of junk.
Yeah, it is.
There.
That movie's so trippy.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it was the special effects.
Dude, the special effects were for real when that when it came out.
And the storyline and just the whole kind of hero's journey that Neo went on. And there's a lot of like biblical underpinnings of that whole movie on purpose.
The ship is called the Nebuchadnezzar.
The Nebuchadnezzar, yeah. And they're in exile, and Neo's the new man.
Yeah.
He dies, comes back to life, and saves everybody. He has a Last Supper scene there with the guy that betrays them.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting there looking at the code, and he pours him some drink, and then later he betrays them.
Man, it's been a while. I need to rewatch that one.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think probably it's either that or The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. That's always on the top. Which one?
Well, for nerdy guys,
out of the Lord of the Rings, which movie?
I don't know. It's a toss-up between Fellowship of the Ring and Return of the King.
Yeah.
But there's so many great lines in the first one.
The first one,
Tolkien was a genius.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they preserved some of the lines better in the movies, in the first movie. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of like really good lines in Return of the King in the book.
Yes.
That are completely omitted in the movie. You know, and so that's cool. Good. Hey, well, we're back in Genesis. We're going through the narrative of the Bible. Having a good time doing it.
Yes.
We've been talking about all sorts of fun things. We talked about creation for a couple of weeks. We talked about what the Bible is, and then we talked about creation. And then we talked about, last week, the Garden of Eden and all the interesting, neat things surrounding the Garden of Eden, these trees of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And now we're picking it up after that. Humans, Adam and Eve, have been kicked out of the garden.
They got the boot.
They got the boot. You can't be sinning here, right? You can't stay. You can't live forever, basically, and you can't stay here and have access to the garden, to the tree of life. And so they get kicked out, and that's the setting. That's where we're set up. And what happens as soon as they get out in the narrative, Brad?
They start shooting and killing.
It goes bad fast.
It goes south fast.
It's like the spiral.
They say, yeah, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it really did, man. Yeah. The very first story after they get kicked out of the garden is about a brother killing his brother.
Yeah. The first story is Eve has Cain and Abel.
Oh, yeah.
And they might be twins.
You think?
It was rabbinically, they were like
Is that
twins.
right?
Yeah, but...
It does say she conceived and gave birth to Cain.
Yeah.
And then verse 2 is she also gave birth to his brother Abel.
Yeah. So they might be twins.
That would be a parallel. Yeah, there's an important parallel.
Lots of twinning going on.
Yeah, especially in the in
Esau
in the
and Jacob and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So brother versus brother. Man, and that is the theme of Genesis. Mm-hmm. In so many ways.
A lot of narrative under,
You got Jacob and Esau.
Jacob and Esau.
Yeah,
Isaac and Ishmael. Yeah.
You have Joseph and his brothers.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a significant theme.
We think we got family problems.
Yeah, read Genesis.
Yeah.
There's some drama going on, no doubt. And so you open up and you have these two guys, Cain and Abel, and they're the children of Adam and Eve, and they're making these sacrifices.
Yes.
Right. Offerings.
It's really neat because
Tell me about it.
when you think about it, because we come to it with so many spoilers, I guess you'd say, and so much background knowledge of what's going on. We don't even miss a beat when it starts saying that they're offering sacrifices, but where did that come from?
Yeah. How do they know what to do?
How do they know what to do?
We don't get that, do we?
No.
There's things left out in the scriptures. Like there's things that God told them about we don't have.
There are gaps in our knowledge.
In our knowledge, that's right.
But it makes sense that, and this is important for how we read stories as human beings. We fill in those gaps.
We really want the answers to them, no doubt.
Well, I mean, we fill them in even naturally. So if you're reading through the Pentateuch or you know about the Scripture, when they offer sacrifice, your brain goes, "That's normal," because you've read about it so much in Exodus and Leviticus. But if you kind of took a step back and realized there's never been any command, no advice, no nothing about where this comes from.
Yeah, we don't know if the offerings are in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Or this might be.
Did they just decide to do it?
Yeah, they just might be trying to just give honor to God in some way, you know. But they also could have had commandments going on, telling them to do those things that we just don't have.
We don't know.
And that's also kind of a thing in Genesis that happens a couple times. Like, where did that come from? Like, you get to Melchizedek, whatever his name is. Like, tell me more about that guy, right? And it's not. There's nothing there.
No.
God was obviously doing
and
other
becomes
things.
a major player in the New Testament and in Psalms.
Yes.
Comes up all the time, and he's literally in like 10, 12 verses, something like that.
Yeah, and
shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Vanishes.
The Bible is not all of what God has done.
No.
It's what God wanted us to know about.
Well,
for the purpose
John
of
says that in
giving
his
to Jesus.
gospel, just
That's
about
right.
the life of Jesus. If we wrote down everything he did, the world can contain the books.
Yeah, that's right. And so obviously something's going on here.
Yeah.
Where they're having some kind of regular communion with God.
This is interesting too, because I know a lot of folks listening probably have grown up around the church or listened to these stories. And how have you heard this interpreted? So Cain goes and he offers he's a farmer.
Yeah, he's the farmer.
He offers produce from the field, and Abel is a shepherd.
Yep.
And he offers something from his flock.
That's right.
And God has regard for Abel's offering, but not for Cain's.
Yeah, that's right.
Why? Why did he reject
because
Cain?
God prefers animals over grain. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
And where is that in the text?
It's not there.
It's not there. Does God accept grain offerings in the Bible?
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
That's in Leviticus. It is a type of offering.
Yes. So it is not.
It's a regular offering. It's not even. It's just. This is a regular offering that was given.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a peace offering, a votive offering.
Yep.
A grain was often given. And so you ask yourself then, and plus we have no outline here to see that it was the offering itself that was rejected.
That's right.
Like, I just don't want grapes or barley or whatever it is Cain gives.
Yep.
And I think it sort of misses the point a little bit.
It does, 100%.
The reason that Cain's offering is not accepted, we find out.
I know that's one funny thing is that the answer isn't actually in Genesis. Like, it doesn't tell you.
Well, it's implied because God appears to Cain and talks to him about it.
There's an implication. And that's another issue in Genesis is that sometimes the moral point, the thrust of the passage or whatever is not obvious. It's just you're supposed to just kind of like get it.
Yeah.
There's several things like that throughout the book, like multiple wives and things like that we would say, what? Tell us more. Why is this okay? And you're supposed to just through the wisdom of it see that this is a bad idea.
Bad idea. Yeah. So sometimes people get tripped up in narrative, especially because people do things that are faithfully recorded that the Bible does not issue at that moment a moral judgment on.
Yes.
It just records what happened.
Yep.
It's not saying, this is good that he had a bunch of wives or whatever the case may be. judges all kinds of
crazy
horrific
stuff,
moral things happen, immoral things, and the Bible just passes over it. You should read it and go, ooh.
Yeah, and Genesis is a big example of that.
Yes.
So when do we find out like the kind of the exact problems with his offering?
Well, God comes to him.
Yeah, so put the story together. It's Cain makes an offering of grain. Abel makes an offering of his flock from their fat portions, right? Mm-hmm. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but he did not have regard for Cain and his offering.
Yeah, and Cain became very angry.
Furious.
And his countenance fell.
Yeah,
and that's one of my favorite things in the Bible when it says someone's countenance fell, or because this is what it means. If you're one of the people who watch this on YouTube, you can do it. This is what it looks like. If somebody does like that, their countenance has fallen. You can see
that's what that looks like.
You can see it on their face, right? Is what it's saying. Is Cain? You could look at him and be like, "What's wrong with Cain, man?"
When you read books, do you ever, especially fiction, do you ever end up making the facial expression that you read sometimes? This happens to me. This is so weird. This is one of the weirdest things ever. I'll just be like reading a book, and it'll be doing something. It'll be telling a story, talking about like an expression that some guy has, and I will catch myself doing it automatically, just like living it out. It's so dumb.
I don't know.
Like sometimes someone would look over at me and like, what is wrong with him? His face all twitching and stuff.
No, you would do that if I were watching. If you saw me reading and it was like a part where someone was embarrassing themselves in a book.
It's
or something,
stuff like that.
I'd be going.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
It physically harms me.
I have to move. My face just moves automatically.
But so his countenance falls. His face moved.
Yeah.
And he was angry. And that is actually why his offering was not accepted. He had some kind of pride, anger issue in his heart.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe something against his brother. We don't know.
Yeah.
Because he does wind up knocking him in the head or something.
Yeah.
It kills him. And so there's another interesting thing in verse 8. So Cain offers this offering, is not accepted. Abel offers the offering, it is accepted. And then Cain, it says, and Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. And in the Masoretic text, in the Hebrew version of the scripture, he doesn't say anything to him. It just says, and Cain said to his brother Abel. And that's it.
Yeah.
And then it says, and he rose up and killed his brother.
Yeah, while they were in the field. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament, it supplies something.
Yeah, he says, let's go out in the field or something like that.
Yeah, let's go out here. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Come here.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
But one also interesting thing is like verse 7. If God tells him, he says, "Why are you furious? And why has your countenance fallen? Why do you look despondent?" Right? Mm-hmm. If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. Its desires for you, but you must rule over it. That's God talking directly to him. One of the only times this stuff happens, like this rare occurrence, talking directly to him. If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? It sounds like they do. He knows what's right.
Yeah, and again, remember we talked about when Adam and Eve fell, God comes to them with questions, and he's like, where are you? Mm-hmm. Did you eat from the tree I told you not to eat from?
That's right.
He does the same thing here with Cain. He's like, what's wrong?
Yep. Why
if
are
you
you
do
mad?
what's right, will you not be accepted?
Yeah.
He's gonna question him again here in a minute too.
Yeah.
But also this imagery of sin crouching at the door is like a cat about to pounce.
Yeah.
That it's just waiting for its moment.
Yeah.
It's got the little wiggle butt.
Yeah.
There, like
I know it.
You've got cats. You've seen it. Yeah, about to pounce, and it's sort of that. I think that's picked up a little bit in. When Peter talks about Satan is like a roaring lion seeking it.
Yeah, I think so.
Lions are often projected as like these devouring strong beasts.
Yep.
Because they used to have lions in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Killed them all.
Yeah. So sin is ready to attack him.
Yes.
And it says its desire is for you, but you must rule over it.
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's the commission from the garden, right?
Yep.
Subdue and rule over.
Yep.
And sin becomes a thing you've got to master.
It's something to rule over now. This is like you live in a world where that just got way more complicated. Mm-hmm. Before all it was is you have to rule over animals, and you had to the trees and the fields and things like that. Now you have to rule over your nature. You have to rule over your temptations and your false desires and things like that. So that's like the call for humans. You have to rule over these things.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the sad. Cain rises up and kills his brother. And then the Lord comes with his questions.
Yeah, here's another thing, funny thing. Like, how does he kill? When you were growing up and you heard this story,
Hit him in the head with a rock.
hit him in the rock.
But it doesn't say.
I don't have that here.
No.
That's weird, isn't
know.
it? I wonder if that's like just the murals and stuff people see, or the
They were
imagery.
thinking, well, they probably didn't have knives yet.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If they're farming,
Yeah, they definitely have pointy sticks.
yeah, if
Like,
you got
if
a
you-
scythe or something.
Well,
if
if
you're
you've
farming.
got a 6-year-old kid and you give him a knife and a stick, he's gonna make a sharp point.
That's right.
I mean, that's like
I mean, you can make a knife out of about anything.
Yeah,
So I don't,
so
we don't
he
know how he
stabbed
killed
him or
yeah,
something.
yeah. That might have been a rock, but
could have been.
I don't know. It's
He
not
bled.
here. Yeah, he bled. Yeah, his blood cries out. That's where you
out.
get.
Yeah.
The Lord said to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" Again, a question.
Question: where is he?
Yep.
Like God don't know.
Yep.
He does know.
He knows.
He's giving Cain a chance to confess.
Please confess.
And
Yep.
instead of confessing, Cain's a jerk.
He doubles down.
Yeah, he makes a slur against Abel
Yeah. Tell me
because
about that.
he says, "Where is your brother?" He said, "I don't know where he is. Am I my brother's shepherd?"
Yep.
Like Abel was a shepherd,
Yep.
and Cain wasn't. So he's
Yeah.
like, "What am I? His shepherd now?
Yep.
Shepherd boy." Yeah, so
Golly.
bad. It's so bad.
He was full of resentment.
yes,
Abel.
he hated Abel for
And man,
some reason.
like all we have in the way the narrative works so far is one sin where Adam
Yeah.
and Eve took from the tree
That they
of
shouldn't have
and that's all that's happened that in the narrative. There's just one sin that's happened, and already one chapter later, it is like deep resentment and hatred,
Yes.
brother against brother. Man.
The thing that happens after the fall is not just separation from God. There's two things that's connected in the scriptures: love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as yourself. Right?
Yeah.
And as we are away from God, we will be away from neighbor, and
Yeah.
so our relationships are broken, top to bottom, side to side.
Yep, and that's what's happening here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all messed up now.
Yes.
So then he said, "What have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. So now you are cursed, alienated from the ground." So this is the land. Mm-hmm. It cries out to me from the land, the Aretz, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you're cursed, alienated from the Aretz that opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood you've shed.
Yep, that's the narrative. Remember, it's Aretz. We're translating it here. If you were reading it in Hebrew, you
Yep.
would see Aretz all over the place.
The land.
And so he's been exiled.
Yep.
It's a different kind of exile, but he has
Yep.
sinned against God, refused to confess and repent, and he is exiled from the land.
Yep. That's right. And so
And he leaves.
Yep, he does. Yeah, he's alienated from the land
Yes.
that opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood you have shed. So you have to leave this place.
Yeah.
This place that's east of Eden. You need to go further east. You got to get out of here,
Yeah.
right? You can't stay here. And he says, if you work the ground, it will never again give you its yield. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. I about to say restless wanderer.
West Wanderer.
Restless wanderer on the earth, right? And so tell me about this curse.
The curse.
Yeah.
It seems like a double down of the curse he already got.
Yep, it does.
And so, why? Why would they do that? Well, it demonstrates. I only got one
man.
friend, and he's here.
What a
It's
boomer.
one of my soldiers.
Goodness.
I have to call him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to turn
it's-
that on silent.
Oh, I got to do that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Silence your phones.
Yeah,
before
silence
on
your
podcasts.
phones.
See what happens?
Yeah.
So, like, he doubles down the curse. Why?
Yeah. Why does he do? Yeah, because this is Adam's curse. Mm-hmm. Just, you get more of it.
You get more of it. It gets worse.
Yep. Sin
Gets
where
more
sin
worser.
increases.
Yeah.
Man, so does curse.
Yeah. So it's serious now.
Yep.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, when God reveals things to us, when he doesn't just have to make up new things. Mm-hmm. He just keeps telling people the same thing over
That's
and
so
over again.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So before, with Adam's curse, if you work the ground, it's going to be hard to work the ground.
Yeah.
Thistles and thorns, and it'll be
Cain's like,
tough.
"Man,
Now,
you're
it
not
will
getting
never
nothing."
again give you its yield.
Yeah.
Man,
That's rough.
that's hard.
And he's exiled.
And he's exiled, right?
But
Restless wanderer.
His response is interesting.
Yeah, he says, Cain answered the Lord, my punishment is too great to bear.
Ugh.
You don't like that, do you?
That.
Why don't you like that? That's what the Bible says.
That's what your English Bible says. So there's not a lot of places where I think this one bothers me more than any translation issue in the entire Bible.
You have a translation issue with,
Yes.
Is it all translations or is it just like a couple?
No. The Septuagint gets it right very early.
Greek.
Some of the early different Bible translations sort of acknowledge it. But the word translated punishment here is iniquity.
Yep.
And so, and where it says too great to bear, this is good. I'll teach you all a Hebrew word today.
Ooh, Hebrew.
Yeah, so he says, my iniquity is too great to nasa.
Yep.
Like NASA. And nasa means to lift.
That's right.
And so what Cain actually says is, my guilt is too heavy to lift.
Yep.
He can't get it off him.
Yep.
He's like, I'm doomed. And so there's a weird reaction from God if Cain is just whining.
Yep.
If he says, my punishment is too great to bear, and God's like, okay, I'll slack up on it, you murderer. I'll put a mark on you, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
And nobody will kill you, or I'll kill them, right? But it changes the narrative if after this, Cain says, my iniquity is too heavy to lift.
Yeah.
My iniquity is too great to lift. And God says, look, I'm not going to totally destroy you. And this is throughout the narrative of the Pentateuch.
Yeah.
Sin, judgment, repentance, God backs off. He's like,
Mercy.
okay,
Yeah.
mercy.
Yeah.
Mercy comes in. So some mercy enters here. So I think Cain said, my iniquity is too great to lift.
Yeah. In the CSB gives you a nice little little note. It says, or sin. Mm-hmm. So my sin is too great to bear.
Yeah.
It's not, and so they at least give you a nod to give a nod to that. But you're right. Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying. And so he says, my sin is too great to bear, since you are banishing me today from the face of the earth, face of the land.
Yeah.
From the land, and I must hide from your presence and become a restless wanderer.
Yeah.
On the earth. Whoever finds me will kill me. Now that's an interesting thing too.
Yeah.
Who is out there that will kill him?
Yeah. And also this word hidden from God.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get to that fun part.
And I must hide from your presence.
Yes. And what did Adam and Eve do the moment they sinned? They hid from God. Now, again, this is Cain saying, I'm going to have to hide from your presence. God didn't say.
That's so. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the shame of his iniquity is driving him further from God.
Yeah.
He's being driven from God. He's being driven from the land. And now, instead of seeing people as fellow image bearers that he loves, he's scared of everybody that they're going to kill him.
Yeah. And, that kind of confronts something that a lot of people feel in their sin.
Yeah.
They think that it's all God pushing them away in their sin. Like God's the one holding them out far away from him. But the interesting thing about sin is that that's actually us doing that.
Yeah.
Like we're the hiders.
We are.
In sin. We're the ones who are hiding ourselves among the bushes or hiding ourselves from his presence after we've sinned. It's not him. He doesn't hide from us. And so that, there's this hiding thing going on. And then he says, whoever finds me will kill me. Mm-hmm. Right. And so who do you think is out there that could find him and kill him?
Well, he killed unless it's his mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's all we got in the narrative so far.
In the narrative, that's all we got.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
seemed like it'd be pretty easy to dodge them if you moved out.
Yeah, that's right.
Who's
it seems
scared
like
of?
that. Maybe it's just that he's living a long time. They're all living a really long time, and there's going to be other people.
There's some ways to solve it. Like if they're
solve
living,
it for us, man.
Well, if folks are living 800-900 years like they are, and this is 400 years in, and you think Eve is having babies like let's say 3 years, and then her kids start having babies, there could be lots of folks hanging around, but they're all kin.
Yeah, so there's two things to like. Yeah. There's problems in that, right?
Yeah.
So like you get later in the law, and incest is a sin.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Consanguinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a word.
Yeah, it means incest.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sinful. And is that the plan originally? Was that we got a bunch of, we just have like
Incest?
years and years, decades and hundreds of years of incest, and then it's okay?
Yeah, maybe that's why we quit living so long.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea.
We don't get told. There is a possibility that there could be other people.
There's got to be other people. You wouldn't be scared that it's going to kill him.
It sounds like it.
Where did they come from?
Yeah, where did they come from?
So what we do is we just fill in the gap. We're like, okay, well, it must be brothers and sisters, because what's the problem if God made other people?
What is the problem? Is there a problem?
A little bit. Yeah. Like there's a theological, like, well, if sin entered the world through Adam, and you got other folks out there that are being created from dirt or whatever, where's their sin moment? Yep. Are we just having these falls all over the place?
Yeah,
like
that's right.
What's going on here with their
is Adam
their spiritual
the first
condition?
man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it comes down to. Is he a historical figure?
If he's the first man, and we are all the descendants of Adam and Eve, which is the historical position of the church and Judaism, then the issue of sin gets wonky. So the explanation is probably, it's probably sister in there.
Yeah.
But it gets to be like, but when you lived 900 years, you would meet somebody. I'm guessing they stayed young a long time.
Yeah, you think.
I'd hate to be like a 90-year-old guy for 600 years. I mean, that'd be pretty rough. It's already getting rough at almost 50, right? Yeah. So you would be like, hey, so who are you? And then genealogies become very important.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, you're my 15th nephew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something. You know?
Have you ever seen those charts that have they stack all the, and the genealogy comes here next, and you get this guy lived 800 something years, this guy, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But when you stack them all up, and it's like they're all living together for hundreds of years when they stack up like that. That's kind of funny. But I guess there are other options. It's all speculation. It doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us that these are foreigners. Doesn't tell us that they're his brothers.
I'm 85% sure it's family members.
You think, 85. But there's like this 15. It could be other people.
Could be. I don't know.
Genesis 1 is a plural.
The Neanderthals running
around there. The Denovians or whatever.
Whatever the guys were.
There's a couple. Was that what it was?
There was the Denovians.
Neanderthals,
Denovians, and something else.
Yeah. I can't remember.
We just lost our
whatever.
Listeners. They're like, these heretics.
And a couple of people in church history have held views like that. Augustine was one that, in his speculation, was like, there were probably other humans. Yeah. And Adam was representative for them. He's like
a king or something.
Priestly king representative or something. G.K. Beale, modern guy, he's a Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Very conservative, reformed guy, whatever. But he says stuff like that too. It's an option. I don't know. It's speculation, though. It's all speculation.
I like it a lot.
You do?
I like that it's not all filled in for us.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We don't know.
Don't know. There could be stories when I die.
Yeah.
That I'll be like, what? Like the earth be this wild place. Man. Denovians running around, Neanderthals eating people.
Yeah, and that, that's one funny thing. Like, when on the timeline is this? That is the funky. That's a hard question to answer.
I don't even know what the timeline is.
Well, I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The age of the earth is a difficult thing to nail down.
Yeah, because we've got, in one sentence, Eve has Cain and Abel, and then they're old enough to kill one another.
Yeah.
Which you'd think at least 15.
Yeah, at least.
15 years passed in 2 verses. And then he's like, well, everybody else is going to kill me. It's like, well, what you got, like 8-year-old brothers running around? Like, I'm going to kill Cain. Abel was my favorite big brother. I mean,
we don't know.
We don't know.
It's like, there's so many gaps in the history.
There's enough of them out there. He's like, they're going to find me.
They're going to find me.
They're going to kill me.
It's a big world.
And God's like, no, we'll avenge them sevenfold.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to kill him 7 times.
Oh, and let's finish that up, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know when this is, and we don't know how long ago this is. This could be this could be tens of thousands of years ago, not like 5,000 or something.
I don't know.
It could be super old, right? We don't know. And he says, "So I must hide from your presence, God, and become a restless wanderer on the land. Whoever finds me will kill me."
Yeah.
Then the Lord replied to him, "In that case, whoever kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over."
Vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he placed a mark on Cain so that whoever found him would not kill him.
Yeah.
Then Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Ah, there it is again. So what is the deal about like this mark and, vengeance 7 times over, Brad? What's going on there?
I don't know, man. I don't even know what 7 times fold vengeance looks like if the death penalty is what's prescribed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to kill Cain.
No.
So this is like one of the first limiting commands from God on sin, or like one of the new laws.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot repay death for death.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to go kill the guy who killed a guy.
Well, not Cain anyway.
Not Cain, at least.
But others, they do have
does go
avengers
there,
of
right?
blood.
Yeah.
So there's
in a couple chapters.
Yeah.
right?
There's some. So there's this idea that comes up in the Pentateuch, and there's like, if you're out in the field, me and you's out there hoeing our garden, and I'm cutting down a tree, and I throw my axe back, and the head flies off my axe and kills you. I wasn't planning it, didn't mean to. Well, your near kinsman, can kill me because you're dead. And I'm supposed to run to a city of refuge.
Yeah.
Run there, and I'll be safe. You can't get vengeance as long as I live in the city of refuge. And a little bit, that's what's going on with Cain.
It is.
He's kicked out, and he settles in a city. And so then we get in this controversy of not only what's 7-fold punishment, but what is the mark of Cain? And there's some sorry, ugly heresies that's come up from that.
Well, yeah,
in
there
that
are,
speculation.
Man. Goodness
right?
gracious, yeah.
It was his skin color.
Yeah,
right?
that was...
He turned him black.
You
heard that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that, man.
Sorry.
That's not true. That's not what happened. We don't know what the mark was, and that's a speculation that was super convenient for 17th century slavery. That's what that
transatlantic
was.
slave trade.
That's right. Yeah,
You're trying to justify oppressing a people.
Yeah,
it's like they're all descendants of Cain. That's what it is.
Yeah, subhuman.
Oh
Ooh,
man.
That's bad.
Boo those ancestors.
Yeah, you're not told what the mark of Cain is. That's all.
No, I think it's the city. Actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's where he went to live.
Okay.
But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
That's my strongest narrative focus.
Other places in the scripture, a mark on someone from that God places is about possession. Mm-hmm. Like the priest gets a mark wears a mark on their forehead. Revelation, there's these marks, the mark of the beast, but also the mark of Christ.
Sealing people.
Yeah, and so it might be just like possession. He's still mine. He sinned.
But here's the other thing.
He's under my mercy.
There's enough people out there, and this is so strange. So like, let's say it was a mark on his forehead.
Yeah.
Well, how does anybody know what that is? Like if they come up, they're like, "You're Cain. You killed Abel. I'm gonna kill you." And he looks at him and they're like, "Oh, you got the don't kill that guy mark."
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's just we're just given that. Yeah, I don't know. But the narrative, it's just so many gaps.
But you get in it and you forget the point of this whole thing.
And what is the point?
The point is that sin will kill you. It will devour you.
Yep.
And it will separate you from God and your fellow man. Instead of living a life of love and fellowship and harmony, you begin to live a life of separation, paranoia.
Yep.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
Yeah.
All this other stuff we're doing is just fun speculation.
Yeah.
What God is teaching us through this is when you sin, you exile yourself from God and your fellow man.
Yeah.
And your life will be miserable. Nothing will accept you. Everything will feel cursed.
Yep.
It's bad.
And even in all that, God still is merciful.
Yes.
And that's a wild thing.
And also, it's not our job to do vengeance.
Yeah,
It comes
that's
up
right.
over and over again.
That's a theme that's
When you
in the
see
entire
somebody
scriptures.
doing something wrong, you don't just get to, of your own accord, go, I'm going to make this right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over there and whoop that boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Vigilante style.
Vigilante.
Batman style.
No, Batman's bad. He's actually one of the villains.
Yeah, that's right. Ah!
He needs to get a sheriff's badge. He just needs to get. Anyway, we can talk
Yeah.
about that, the government stuff. But yeah,
So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So there's that east of Eden. This is the narrative, right? Every
get booted.
sin just gets you further and further from the presence of
paradise.
God, from
Yeah.
paradise. Yep. And east is the direction of exile.
yeah. Because if you go west, you're getting in the water.
Yep. And the westernmost section
yeah.
is the land, right?
Yeah.
It's the promised land, right? If you look on a map, okay, if you've never really looked at the geography of the
I'm a
Middle
map.
East, the furthest east or the furthest west section of the Middle East is Israel,
Yeah.
the promised land, Canaan, right?
Yeah,
So east of Eden,
but not good.
not good. Now, it kind of moves on and it talks about Cain and his lineage, his family that comes from him, right?
He had a wife.
Yeah, he has a wife.
Yeah,
It doesn't tell us. It just says he already has one. And basically, we don't know anything about that. Is it his sister? I don't know, man.
he has a son named Enoch.
He's
It's not
that's
the same-
we do know he has a son named Enoch.
It's not the same Enoch.
It's a different Enoch, right? Yeah. And then Cain became the builder of a city, and he named the city Enoch after his son. So he's like has enough people to
Have
make a city.
And he named it after his son. That seems like a cool dad move.
Yeah, that is a cool dad move.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a good guy.
Maybe he got better.
Maybe he got better.
I don't know.
He killed his brother though. That kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So did David, sort of.
Yeah, that's right. Irad was born to Enoch, and then you just get some bunch of names, right? You get some a little bit of history, genealogy, and then you get to verse 19.
Lamech.
Lamech, right? Lamech.
Yeah.
He took 2 wives for himself.
Yeah, he did.
Oh
He
man,
got
he's
2 of
the
'em.
first one to do that.
First one
right?
we know about.
That's right. First one we know about.
Yeah.
He takes 2 wives for himself, one named Adah and the other named Zillah.
Yeah.
Adah bore Jabal. He was the first of the nomadic herdsmen. His brother was named Jubal. He was the first of all who play the lyre and the flute.
Yeah.
Musicians.
He was the first bard.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Zillah bore Tubal Cain, who made all kinds of bronze and iron tools, right? Tubal Cain's sister was Naamah. And so some of those things that, that might not mean much to you, but
Zillah was actually, she was from God. She was Godzilla. She's a Japanese monster. Oh, that was so bad. That's so bad.
Oh, man. Verse 23, though, gets kind of interesting. Lamech said to his wives, this is a little song, a little
Yeah,
chant.
little poem.
Yeah. Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, pay attention to my words. For I killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain is to be avenged 7 times over, then for Lamech it will be 77 times.
Yeah, so Lamech killed somebody.
Yeah. We have a multiplication of transgression going on.
Maybe. The thing is, because he comes from Cain, automatically you think, oh, he's just a dirty dog like his dad. But
I
he
think
says
he
he
is.
did it in self-defense.
Well, he killed a young man for striking him. He killed and it's actually a young man.
Yeah.
It's a child.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like look.
It
the
doesn't have
Hebrew,
to be child.
Yeah,
It can be-
there's
it's sorta like
flexibility
when
in it.
it's probably the same word for when Elisha called the bears down on the kids.
Yeah, yeah. An adolescent.
Yeah, young man.
Yeah, young man.
But it could be self-defense.
Yeah.
He's like, this dude might have been trying to kill him.
Yeah, minimally, someone's trying to kill him.
Yeah, and so
Someone's
he
trying to
kills him.
wound him. Someone's trying to strike him,
Yeah,
and he's responding with murder.
gonna finish this.
Yeah, killing him. Yeah,
He
or
was-
murder. He killed him.
yeah,
The point is that it's multiplying.
yeah.
It ain't stopping.
No.
It's not like the descendants of these people.
Quit killing.
Yeah, like they've learned their lesson.
Yeah, no.
No, it's just spiraling, right? Sin, and it doesn't matter if who's right and wrong necessarily in that situation. Someone's wrong. Someone's starting that.
Yeah.
And it's just increasing, right?
Yeah.
So wickedness is just increasing in the world. Then you get Adam. Now we're back to Adam, right?
Yeah, and also, but the thing, go back to Cain's descendants. You got Jubal Cain or whatever, and he invents the lyre and the flute. That's pretty cool.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and he has a bunch of kids in a city full of folks, so God's sparing him now. There's people, and they're like inventing things.
Was Paul say in Acts that the rain falls on everybody, man?
Just and the unjust.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that, these guys get music, man. Good for them.
Good for them.
Yeah, I love music. And they get bronze and iron tools.
Probably you're a descendant of Cain.
Probably. Yeah, I am a bard. Yeah.
I'm just gonna start calling you Jubal.
Yeah. And so we're back to Adam, right? Verse
Seth,
25.
Anyway.
Yeah. And so she gives birth to a son named Seth. Eve gives birth to a son named Seth. For she said, God has given me another offspring in place of Abel since Cain killed him.
Another seed.
Yeah. That's the offspring. It's the seed, right?
She's still looking for the seed that squashes the head of Satan. She's like, oh, she probably thought Abel was going to be the one. Or maybe Cain.
Yep.
Right? And
Cain seems to disqualify himself.
Murdering your brother might make you not the candidate for Messiah.
Yeah.
And then, so she's like, well, it ain't Abel because he's dead.
Yep.
Oh, I've got Seth. But see, here's the weird thing.
Yeah.
She had Seth after Abel's dead.
Yeah.
So where did them brothers and sisters come from, and who is Cain scared of gonna kill him if they hadn't even had Seth?
I know it. That's why. Do you see why
Seth is not even necessarily the third son?
Yeah,
she's like that boy.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
There's gaps, man.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, there's something.
Wait a minute. We don't do ourselves any favor. Like if you're a Christian, and you're like trying to explain to somebody who thinks this is all a fairy tale legend, and you act like there's no like issue here, you're not persuading anybody.
Yeah, you're not being very probably intellectually honest about it.
Might be a little bit insecure yourself.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, we
don't know.
You should read this. We're going to come to it with some questions that the Bible's not trying to answer.
Yeah,
and that's one of them. We don't know. There's speculation. It could be other people. It could be his larger expanding family or something. I don't know. Yeah, God often. So I was listening to Sam Harris. Did we talk about this already? I don't know.
He's an atheist, and one of his, I think he's Jewish too. He is one of his he's a philosopher, and one of his goals is to try to make an objective morality when there's no God. That's kind of like what he's known for. But anyway, he was in this thing, little debate with a Christian. He was like, man, if God knows everything, right? And he wrote this massive tome, this big book. Why didn't he tell us about antibiotics, man?
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
Did we talk about it on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this bugs me all the time. This is my Roman Empire. Because I want to tell Sam.
Yeah, and he never does that. He never drops the science book down from heaven.
No, it must be something more important than antibiotics.
And that's the point of this stuff. This is telling us, it might not be answering your question about when were these people, where how many of them were there, all this kind of stuff.
Where'd they come from?
Those are so inconsequential compared to the main point of it about the character of God.
I mean, here's the deal.
The wreckage of sin.
Look how big that book is.
Yeah.
And this is written on tissue paper, man.
Yeah,
if you wrote
rice
this
paper.
on Brandon Sanderson size paper,
be huge.
This sucker'd be this tall.
Yeah.
I mean, how much reading you want to do about stuff that doesn't matter?
That's right. That's so true. Yeah. Minimally, I think when it comes to those things, none of your solutions and your speculation, I think, should be something that derails you from the faith.
It shouldn't derail you from the faith. It's fine to speculate.
I've seen that.
It not only derails people, but it when people think they've solved the dilemma, they start demanding that people accept their solution as scripture.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It has to be that Cain married his sister. It has to be that these are all brothers and sisters running around. And if you think that it's not, you don't really believe the Bible.
Yeah.
But really, what I don't believe is what you're saying had to happen.
That's right.
Because of how you read the Bible.
Yeah, the gaps you're trying to fill in, your explanation for those things. Yeah,
Like if you chapter and verse people, like when somebody says the world is only 6,000 years old, say chapter, verse. Chapter, verse.
Yeah.
Where does it say? And the world started here at well, I guess it wouldn't be minus. 6,123 years before Messiah. Or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you
their
mean.
number is.
Yeah.
They'll go, well, the chapter is when Joshua entered into Canaan, there was a eclipse. And that eclipse could only have been at this year. And so if we count down backwards from the genealogies given and subtract all these numbers, we get to 6,000.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that, you don't believe the Bible.
Yeah.
What?
Man, that's one thing we're gonna notice here in a minute about those genealogies. Your explanation, the gaps you're filling in you shouldn't hold to them too tightly, and they should not derail you from the faith. I've seen a lot of people, questions like this turn into justifications for a lack of faith, right?
Yeah.
It's like they find their lack of solid answers so frustrating that, or at least it's a convenient excuse to not believe, right?
And then other people see that and react, and it's like, well, we got to fill in the gaps for them because people's leaving the faith.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
The point wasn't to nail down those things.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't nail them down.
The point is for them to say, hey, if you want to help somebody, be like, yeah, we don't really know. That sounds like a good explanation, but I
don't know is one of the best things you can say about these things. Age of the earth, I don't know. Like, how many people are roaming around this time? I don't know. Yeah, so that's a very healthy thing to be able to say about these early days of the Bible.
I don't have to know.
You don't have to.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's good, actually.
Yeah, it's okay.
If you don't know, what does that make you do?
I don't know.
Trust. Just trust the Lord.
Oh, trust. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Man, it's okay.
I already trust the Lord.
Yeah, trust him some more.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's right. So we move on into the line of Seth, right? And then you get all these. This is the big genealogy, chapter 5. A lot of times when folks start their Bible reading plan, yearly Bible reading plan, this is like one of the first like little hang-ups where people get to and they're like, I think I'm done with it now, or they skip it or something because it's just a bunch of names and numbers, right?
Right. But the point in chapter 5, it says that in the day when God created man, he made them in the likeness of God. So here we have that again.
Yes.
And then in verse, let me see, 3, Adam lived 130 years. He became the father of a son in his own likeness, according to his image, named him Seth. And people say, oh, that means fallen image. It's like, no, it's paralleling that if Adam is made in the image of God and people are made in the image of Adam, then they're in the likeness of God too.
They're all like that's the whole point. It's like all of these humans are in the image of God.
Yes,
right?
That's the point.
And that's from Genesis 1, right? The humankind were all created in the image
He's
of God.
130 years old before he had Seth, by the way.
Man.
You're doing pretty good for 130.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Look at verse 3. Adam was 130 years old when he fathered a son in his likeness.
Yeah.
Does that mean Abel and Cain were in his likeness?
Yes, they were in his likeness.
I know. Yeah. According to his image, right? And he named him Seth. But 130 years old, have your presumptively third kid. We don't know.
I don't know.
Man.
Maybe he had all daughters between them.
Could be. We don't get any of the daughters, do we? I bet he had some daughters.
Well,
I don't know.
Not,
if you're having a bunch of children.
In a weird world.
Yeah.
The first two. There got to be some daughters in there.
Yeah, I don't know. He lived 800 years after he fathered Seth. And he fathered other sons and daughters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did say he had daughters. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I was going to let you get there.
Oh,
I wanted to see your face when you discovered it.
Well, there it is. The Bible does give me answers.
Yay.
Yeah. So Adam's life lasted 930 years, then he died. Right. And so you get you get these numbers and genealogies and stuff, and they're really big numbers, aren't they, man?
930 years old.
Yeah, that is.
So, like, if today was your 911th birthday.
Little Bobo.
Yeah. Let's just say 900 so that English majors can do math.
Yeah.
What's that like? You'd have been born in 1524. 900 years ago.
900 years ago was 11.
You're right. See, that's
Yes.
why English
Yeah.
majors don't do math. That's right. 1124.
1124.
That's like
Still
80
United Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year?
1124.
No,
No, it's after.
1054.
1054.
You barely
Yeah,
missed-
yeah. I missed it.
1066
Yeah.
is when William the Conqueror
That's right.
went into England
Yeah.
and put a whooping on the
That's
Anglos and
crazy,
Saxons.
dude.
So you'd barely be older than the conquest of England
Yeah.
by the Norman invasion.
Yep. So you put all these like numbers together. Well, I'm gonna see if I can find a chart. I might put it up there. Let's put the to look at them how big they are.
900?
Who's the oldest one? Methuselah.
Methuselah.
Yeah.
He's like 900 and, I forgot, 90 or something like that.
Yeah. So how did that work, man? Why
Man, I
are
don't
these
have
people
the
so
foggiest
old?
idea.
Yeah. Is this another example of these places where the answer I don't know is the appropriate one?
Well, if it's inappropriate, that'd be weird because I
It
don't
would be.
know.
Yeah, because it doesn't tell you why.
I do not know why. These are special people.
Yeah.
Special folk.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know, maybe this line of Adam is living longer. I hate this because we start going into like weird speculations. But if there's Neanderthals and Denovians running around and they're interbreeding with these folks because the sons of God go into the daughters of men and blah,
that's in
blah,
chapter
blah.
6. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I know this when Jacob appears before Pharaoh in this book and he's like, how old are you?
Yeah.
He's like freaked out.
Yeah.
And Jacob's like, oh, my years have been short compared to my ancestors and full of sorrow. I am only 139 years old or something. And Pharaoh's like, what?
Yeah.
When
Something-
130 years old you are, look so good you will not.
Yeah. Well, you look at
That
like
was Yoda.
Abraham and Sarah running
Yeah.
around, and
He was 170 something when he died.
and Pharaoh was after Sarah.
Pharaoh, not only did Pharaoh get after Sarah, spoiler, because we ain't
Yeah.
got there yet, she was 90
Yes.
almost.
Yeah.
And Abraham recognized it. He's like, look, you got to tell everybody you're my sister because you're hot. And like, when they see
At
you,
90.
they're going to kill me to get you.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, man, this dude is just enamored with his wife.
Yeah.
Dude, they barely got there. And they're like, go get her for the king's harem.
Yeah.
And he did.
And the same exact thing happened with Isaac and
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Same thing. Abimelech, though,
Yep.
which
Yeah,
means
that's
my
right.
God is king.
Yeah.
And both of them showed they had more fear of God than Abraham and Isaac.
That's
like,
true.
What'd you do to us?
We'll get there. We got. Yeah. That's that's coming up soon. Point being, something's happening. So they're different. They're different.
Yeah.
We don't know why they're different, but they are. They live longer, and it's a
And this
hallmark
is where stuff comes
of the
in. There's
family.
a bubble over the earth.
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
kept
yeah,
the
yeah.
sunshine out and the UV rays, so nobody aged.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just as good a speculation as whatever else you want to come up with.
It's just more embarrassing though.
It can be. Yeah. I mean, it did. Hey, was there a bubble? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh man, that's so funny. I don't think so either. But you know what? It's all speculation. Something happened. What we know is that people were living a long time.
I think they lived a long time.
Yeah. And now what we don't know also is if this is look how smart you look right now.
I just got smarter. People will trust me now.
He's wearing glasses if you're listening.
That's because I have not lived as long and as healthily as Adam, my forefather, who's
Yeah,
had
you
babies
need
at
those.
130.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 49. I can't imagine having an infant right now. Just losing that precious sleep when you get
Yeah.
old. You already can't
Double
hardly
it.
sleep.
Right? Yeah. Double it.
triple.
Be 98 and then have a baby.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Legend.
Yeah. So one other thing is like we don't know if these genealogies are complete.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing with the dating of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
If you, lots of folks, you get to the genealogy of Jesus and you compare them to the other genealogies, there's skipping going on. Lots of skipping.
Yeah.
You skip 2 generations in this, you're already behind 2,000 years.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So how many can you skip? I mean, you're still way off of like old Earth where it's like, I don't know what it is, 5 billion or something.
Yeah, but when it comes to people, though, I think
thousands and
they're
thousands.
I think the going age for like modern anatomical humans is something like 200,000 years old or something. Like anatomical humans.
Homo sapien.
Homo sapien has
Wise
been,
man. That's what sapien means.
has been like 200,000 years. I don't know. But what we do know is that apparently Cain is, he's working fields.
Yeah.
That
with bronze.
Yeah, and he's doing bronze. So that doesn't quite fit with what they are thinking with what humans are doing 200,000 years ago. But but what they know about that is like this little big. It's very tiny.
I will say this, and I think like an atheist archaeological dude that studies anthropology would probably agree.
Yeah.
Ancient man constantly surprises them with his ingenuity and how fast they develop technological prowess.
Yeah.
Versus, like, you get the idea they're out there just napping flint and making bows, and that's as far as they went. But that's just not true. We find, like, some weird stuff every once in a while that those folks are making.
Yeah. It's like the Göbekli Tepe thing in Turkey.
Yeah, 9,000 BC.
Pre-agriculture.
Supposedly.
Right? Yeah, supposedly pre-agricultural.
And we've got this, you should look, just Google, like, oldest man-made objects, and it's a whole city.
Yeah, that's right. And it's weird, man. It's super like weird. Carved stone and junk.
Yeah.
And only like a small portion of it is
we got Stonehenge.
Yeah,
what the heck is that?
Stonehenge's super old too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pyramids.
Yeah, pyramids are old, but they're not that old, but they're still really old.
They're older than the young Earth flood.
Is that? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Unless, you have to start saying all your dating methods are wrong.
Yeah, you start messing with the dating.
You have to look when you start defending some things and you start sounding like a flat earther. If you're a flat earther and you just got offended, take that, you flat earther.
You should be offended.
You should be offended. It's okay. If you start sounding like a flat earther, that every time somebody says something, you got to change all of science and agreed upon data.
Man.
Just stop.
What are we doing, dude? Like, what are we doing?
555 STOP.
Yes. You can dial 555 STOP.
Yeah.
So it was a long time ago. We can say that with certainty.
Yes.
And
they were different.
They were different. And it's a hallmark of them.
And there's weird stuff going on. God is talking to people. Enoch just like walked on up into heaven.
Yep. This is not one of those areas where sometimes you might hear Bible teachers or like some folks are kind of apologetic about the Bible, and not in like the way they're defending it. They're like actually apologizing for it.
Yeah.
Like,
and
they're looking at this and they're saying things like it wasn't really 900 years. It was like this other calendar they had. That is more than speculation.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah. I'll read this like Lord of the Rings or something, man. Except this is true.
Yeah.
There's some wild stuff going on back there.
It's just wild, man.
These men of Gondor. Mean of Eden. That come out of there. Man, they're Numenorians.
Yeah, that's what it was in Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, they were Numenorians.
Yeah.
They turned into the Dunedain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
but yeah, I kind of read it like that.
Nerds, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but it's for real. Like this is just what it says, man.
And
like
you got people like Gandalf popping in. We're going to see him like angels unaware stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody knew Gandalf was an angel.
Yeah,
we did because we read the Silmarillion.
Is Gandalf in the Bible?
No.
All right, so I think we're probably gonna bring it to a close with this, and we'll pick up with the flood next week. We go all the way through the entire genealogy, all the way till you get to Noah in chapter 5.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pick it up with Noah in the flood, right?
Yeah, and Methuselah, by the way, lived 969 years. And if you do the math, he died the year of the flood.
Yeah.
So I hope he croaked out right before it. Or
he
like
might died
Noah,
in the flood, though.
Noah didn't invite him on the ship.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think he was that. I don't know, man. Oh, Methuselah. 969 years. This is a long time.
Yeah, it is. All of these are a long time.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
It's a good thing we don't live that long anymore.
Man.
And I'm not talking about overpopulation.
Could you, what do you think would be, why do you think that?
Because a 700-year-old man in the body of a young man would be a tyrant.
Oh,
okay, imagine a terrible despot. Hitler. Well, everybody wants to do Hitler. Let's do somebody else. Let's do Putin.
Stalin.
Yeah, let's do Stalin. Like, well, okay, modern day. Let's talk about Putin. I ain't scared.
Yeah,
I ain't
Putin.
scared of Russia.
If you're watching this,
Here's
we're
the
talking
deal,
about
man.
you, Putin.
You think they're having democratic elections for Putin in Russia?
No.
What they gonna do with that guy if he lives to be 900? How
Yeah.
you ever gonna get him out?
Oh
of there?
yeah, for real. Yeah.
Plus, like, let's just think about it takes 10 years, which seems like an eternity, to go from white belt in jiu-jitsu to a black belt, approximately.
Yeah.
That's if you're rolling with folks 3 times
Yeah.
a week. Imagine you got 600 years to
Yeah.
fight. Or think about guys. We'll go to the guys. What you knew about girls and life at 17
PG,
versus PG versus
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
How young men would have no chance.
Yeah.
If you were 600 years old and
That's true.
accumulated wisdom for 600 years, you'd be a terrifying person.
Yeah, you would.
Absolutely. There would be nothing you've not seen.
Think about you. Hitler is actually important. You can use him. As
Okay,
an
go
example.
ahead.
Like, how long was the war?
4
World War II?
years.
Yeah,
We were in it about 4 years.
we were in it about 4 years. Put it all together, about 8 maybe or so. Him getting the power and stuff.
Yeah.
What if it just would have gone on and on and on?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I know you can't get rid of them. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, dude.
If they're wickedness,
Yeah.
and God limits the lifespan because of wickedness.
Yeah.
And so, like, you got dudes that are bent on destruction who like to watch the world burn that live to be 900 years old.
Yeah,
I mean, you got no chance. You're
Yeah.
22 years old, and you're going up against a guy that's 600.
yeah,
I just don't think we realize how awful the world would be.
yeah. That's why before we can have eternal life, we have to have a resurrection into a new body. We have to be changed.
We got to be changed.
We got to be changed.
Got to get
by-
rid of sin.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
You be the devil.
You have to. It would. Yeah. You'd be awful.
Yeah.
You don't get better.
You don't get better.
You can't make yourself better. You're not your own antidote.
Yep. Think about how miserable. Oh my goodness. Some people can't even are miserable at 50.
Yeah.
Like imagine 500. How bitter.
Yep.
So it's a mercy
It
that
is.
God takes us out.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know where I got all that. I'm
That's
just
important, though.
saying,
Yeah.
if there was a dude walking around that's 550 years old who was born during the Renaissance and
Yeah.
came over here on the Mayflower or something, think of the junk that dude's seen.
For real. Yeah.
Oh, man. You got no chance.
No chance.
No chance.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for listening. Please, if you're on YouTube watching, like and subscribe this, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow it. You can even leave a review. If you leave a review, that's super helpful. It's not just because we want to hear all of your great opinions about us,
No, we
but
do.
because, but we do.
Yeah, but we do.
But the way this stuff works is if you're searching for the podcast, you get deprioritized if you don't have many followers and reviews and
Yeah.
stuff.
So look right in my eyes. If you think, or just listen to the sound of my voice. If you hate the stuff I'm saying, I challenge you. Go on there and say what a dummy I am.
Yeah. And if you like what we're saying,
Do the same thing.
yeah. Well, don't call us a dummy, maybe, if you like it.
If you like it, no, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment or something.
Or maybe you could say, I was going to leave something nice, but you told me to call you a dummy.
Maybe we'll just, I'm okay with being called a dummy. It's
Yeah.
true.
It's true.
It's true. All right. Thank you all so much. Thanks for listening to the Big Deal Podcast.